You can support this show at patreon.com/ASAPodcasting. Welcome to a Skyrim Addict podcast, where I will discuss my adventures and misadventures through Skyrim. Join me. Add your stories, add your tales. Let's get into this thing. Welcome back to Skyrim Addict 150. We just discovered. I am Michael. I'm here with Steve.
Hello, sir. How are you now?
Excellent. Apparently, this is an anniversary episode. 150 episodes.
Fantastic. Fantastic. What do we have planned, Michael?
Tons of things. Totally knew that this was the 150th episode. Didn't just look that up.
We're giving away free opinions all night long.
Yes.
You know,
Free.
We're running a Q&A out of the YouTube.
Yeah.
As a celebratory option.
There you go. No, actually, this one isn't even on YouTube. I got to admit, I went lazy this time.
Oh, just Patreon. Yeah, well, fair enough.
Well, no, not even there. It's just I'm just recording it through GarageBand. This is a straight lazy one.
But the patrons.
I'll have to get back to the live next time.
The patrons.
Yes. Oh, the patrons, actually, I will have, I don't know if anybody wants to listen to this, a podcast I've been doing with my friend Colleen from Jay and Jack.
Parkgate.
Yes, I have. We're finishing up this week, actually. There was 6 episodes. I'm going to be over there on Friday down in Raleigh, so we might do a live episode too. So I'm going to drop the whole catalog.
You've been doing it face to face?
No, I just happened.
You must have been telecommuting, right?
Yeah. No, we were just bopping in on Hangouts or whatever. But I'm going to be down there Friday, so we were talking about maybe doing a live one. So see what happens there. But either that or we'll just hang out at their house and drink, one or the other. I don't know, something like that.
Well, hang out at the house and drink and then do a live. That's
always
fart-related podcast.
Very likely to happen. So those will be dropping on the Patreon. I think I dropped the first one, but I'm going to just do one a day for a week because there'll be, I think, a total of 6 episodes. So they're not long. It was a fun little summer project.
Yeah, I guess I listened to 1 or 2 maybe. And whatever's up on the Patreon anyways.
Yeah.
Or whatever there was up there 3 weeks ago.
I think I had put up.
I think I quite like it. I mean, you've really you've the format.
Oh, yeah. We went deep into true crime mode.
Yeah. But no, it does. And it's funny too, because I said this before, maybe just, I don't know, on Facebook or something, but like until you get to the sort of the twist that it's a joke, right? That it's just about a guy who
it's very serious sounding. Yeah.
It sounds like it's like the intro sounds a little bit like what you'd expect. You know what I mean? So that's good. And then the twist makes it funny, which is fantastic. So, yeah.
And Andrew made an appearance on episode 4.
Oh, very nice.
He joined us for episode 4.
The Pit Boy himself.
Yes, yeah, he was a prominent guest on that episode. Trying to think who else was on. I think that was it. There were some other random people we know. Podcasting wise, I don't know if people listen to, was it Rob Has a Podcast or whatever. I don't listen to any of those, but if you happen to, Mike Bloom was the subject of some of it. He does like some Survivor stuff and things like that. So. But
cool.
Yeah, so it was a fun little project for the summer that took like 20 minutes a week, basically, or was pre-recorded at times. But so that'll be coming up. The Oblivion Roundtable, actually, we've pushed off till September because I'm home exactly 1 weekend between now and October, and that's next weekend, and that's Skyrim AD weekend. So,
there you go. Yeah, well, and like. Juan's in charge of softball, and it's softball season again. So
in
tryouts or whatever with his niece, I think it is.
Yes, I believe he runs the softball or does softball coaching or taking her and things like that. So
yeah, that's cool. So there we go.
Yeah, so
it's summer, anyways. I mean, we've had this chat before. Like,
oh yeah,
the podcast backlog builds up a little bit.
For sure.
You're outside running around doing stuff, talking to people. Winter is great podcasting time. There's no sunlight. It's cold. You don't want to do anything, but you don't want to be bored.
You need something to keep you busy.
That's right. That's right.
Although I tend to run out of podcasts this time of year because my consumption doesn't really change throughout the year.
No, me neither. Yeah.
So yeah, this time of year is tough because I'm like, God, I gotta find something.
Well, you're in that like desert, right?
Yeah.
Between like Netflix seasons,
Yeah.
you know, because you listen to a lot of serialized stuff, right?
Yes.
So they'll do it, they'll drop it either all at once or you know weekly or whatever. But then then they got to go through like 3 months of pre-production and then like some talent scouting and then the actual recording and then the editing and don't forget to pre-promote it and you know what I mean. So it's like Netflix, like once a year. But you also like you're your own worst enemy. Like you listen to your podcasts on like 2.5 times speed.
I've cut
like
back.
Alvin and the Chipmunks doing serial crime. I mean, no wonder you run through them so fast. You know,
I have cut back. I'm now. I used to use Downcast, and now I've actually switched back to the Apple Podcast app, which I know a lot of people don't use or like. The reason I did is because it lists whatever I have in chronological order. So, like, it's not like show by show. It'll list everything in chronological order, which I kind of like because then I can see what the latest thing is, and you know if it's something, you know, if it's a priority one or if it's not or whatever. And so I do that. But yeah, I've cut back. I'm now down to single speed, unless it's a very slow talker, and then I got a 1.5.
Oh yeah, for sure. I get some of those. I've had contributors like that over the years.
Yeah,
where like you're really, really good, but I've got to like crank the tempo by about 3%.
Just like a little bit faster.
Just a little bit would be good. It would be good. A little bit would be good. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
You definitely have to do that sometimes. Yeah, 1.5 isn't bad. I can listen to things in 1.5. So if you listen to this on 1.5, don't feel bad. You're not hurting my feelings. Listen at your leisure.
We'll just slow her down for you. Yeah.
Whatever speed you would like to listen at is perfectly fine.
I would prefer to view it as being so excited to consume the content that they can't handle it at normal. Normal is no longer good enough. They need to up their game, as opposed to loyally listening but not really caring and just hoping to get it over with.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, we're gonna go with column A instead of column B.
Yeah, exactly. We'll go with that one, hopefully. So there will be a Let's Play Skyrim coming up soon. I actually started recording it and playing today. I started my characters. I have a notebook here. There's only, as you can see, 3 lines of notes right now. Because I just started. Yeah. So my character is a Breton, and I did a name generator because I don't know how to name Bretons. His name is Silnell Corglaney, which sounds kind of Scottish almost. And he's heading to the College of Winterhold at the moment, and we'll be going through his story with the Daedric princes.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to how you string them all together too. I mean, it's equally okay to just be, I'm interested in things Daedric.
Yeah.
And that's enough. But I feel like there's real potential, and I mean, don't spoil it, but I'm just saying that as a fan of that whole podcast, I'm really looking forward to how you sort of string it together.
I have some
connective tissue is, you know?
Yeah, I have some ideas, but I think I'm going to allow some of my gameplay to help with that leading up to it to kind of see where it goes. But yeah, I have some ideas with using the obviously what's his name in the library there at the College of Winterhold. I'm going to see kind of how the mods I'm running work in with it as well. I think
so. You got magic. You got a couple of magic mods in there.
Yeah, there's like a whole magic. It's like a school or something. The one I added to, I would have to pull it up.
That's okay. We talked about it in the last episode.
Yeah.
They can go back and
So that may actually help me out too, because there may be parts. I'm going to see what parts of that kind of work in with it, and if that allows me to jump off in some different ways also.
Well, you'll be able to solve your problems differently.
Yeah.
Like being a straight magic user, but it's not just down to like sort of destruction, illusion, whatever. Like,
yes,
or at least there'll be new spells in there. So that'll be interesting listening. Like for someone like me, like I've heard of like Apocrypha, I think it is, but I've never played with it. I've seen a few of the spells. I think it was Stu from Character Crusade. I was watching.
Okay, yeah.
I watched an episode or two of something he was doing, and he was using some of those spells. But that'll be interesting because, like you say, you might have the chance to like say solve your problems in a bit of a different fashion, or also my first thought again would be like story, right? I don't know how you're gonna do it. I'm not trying to tell you how to suck eggs, but like if I had access to magic that no one else in Skyrim did,
Yeah.
there would have to be a reason for that, right?
That's a good point. Yeah.
And and is that tied to your interest in the Daedra? Are there secrets that they've unlocked for you? Like, not to go too over the top, but like, are you a convergence of some kind, a la like, Anakin Skywalker? You know what I mean? Like, because you're going to go seek out all this knowledge and stuff, and depending on how you try to solve your problems, like, do you sort of take the pro Daedra choice in these various cases or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, yeah, it's all going to be very good. It's going to be very interesting, I think. But that would be neat. That would be a really neat, like, maybe even just outside of this, just playing the game. Like, if you took the perspective that much like being a Dragonborn, where you're like the only person that has these ancient powers, if you were using a magic mod,
that's true,
and then sort of worked it in. And I don't know how broad they are, but I wonder if one could get away with only using the spells that the mod adds.
Oh yeah, I think you easily could. Like, once you advance a slight bit, I think you could. Yeah, obviously in the beginning when you have nothing, you're stuck with whatever flames or whatever your
fire and heal like everybody else.
Yeah. So, but I think once you get slightly beyond that point, I think you could just run off the apocalypse spells, yes, or whatever spell mod you happen to be using, along with Ordinator. I mean, I don't think you would have to use the traditional spells at all, or the vanilla spells at all.
Is there a lot of good synergy between those two mods? Are they by the same mod maker? Victor would know, but he's not.
No, they are not. I don't believe, but they work. I've used them together in the past, actually, so they do work well.
See, that's one of the things I'm coming to really like about modding. Victor created a monster. I don't have 900, but I'm, one of the things that I'm really coming to, and you'll appreciate this as a Minecraft player as well, is that I like to try and find like unintended consequences of the combinations. Or interesting synergies. Like, to put it in the Minecraft context, like one of the first things I always do in a highly modded Minecraft game, I'll always have like a basket of tech mods, like whether it's somebody else's mod pack or I put it together myself. And I always like to like look for ways to create like infinite energy.
Yeah.
I don't want to mine for coal constantly to like run furnaces or so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Or you go up the tech scale and maybe it's some other source, right? But even if it's just sort of, if you have a solar power mod, well, that itself is infinite, but very low. So I always like to try and do that. So I wonder again, like with Skyrim, my basket is starting to get big enough in terms of the mods that I'm using that I'm starting to wonder, like, are there going to be these unintended ways that they interact with each other? Or like, I'm not talking about cheating per se, but like, does this perk have like an unexpected, from a mod, have an unexpected consequence on my ability to cast or use this particular spell? And then like, what does that say about your character? Again, to go back to like the emergent storytelling.
Yeah, how does that? Yeah, what caused that? What is the reasoning for it beyond the mods themselves?
Yeah. So I mean, it's all in your head while you're down in the basement being an elf. But
pretty much. Yeah. Yeah, because I've been thinking. I mean, I've been meaning to start it for a long time. Obviously, I have been actually wrapped up in Minecraft still. Playing
on Realms, I guess.
Yeah, in the Realms. I really love Realms. I gotta say, it's fun to be able to, just hang out in houses near people and just wander around. And I've been trying to, not to get too deep in Minecraft, I've just been trying to find the stronghold for the end. So maybe we could all get together and
kill the Ender Dragon.
Yeah, go to the end. I thought that would be a fun thing. So I've been kind of exploring, trying to find that. But
and then Skyrim Addict Facebook group will be given back to Skyrim Addicts.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm actually
offshoot,
I'm playing in the Fallout world with, actually, my character has a Dovahkiin skin on.
Yeah.
So I have to, the traditional iron helmet and such. Yeah. So that's kind of how I play. I was actually a necromancer. I had a necromancer skin on for a bit, but.
Yeah, but I thought it was really it's a really nice way to actually give the Facebook group and the people there, of course, like a chance to sort of interact live.
Yeah,
like we can talk back and forth in the group and stuff. But I mean, we've lamented this, so I won't flog a dead horse here. But like, you can't multiplay Skyrim.
Yeah, I know. It'd be amazing.
I mean, yes, arguably, like there's enough of us, we could be an ESO guild.
Yeah,
but that was neat. It was just sort of like I've actually been playing. I've been playing a bit of Minecraft as well. Recently, but I didn't individually sort of dive into the realms, but it was neat. It was neat to sort of see people getting a chance to actually like hang out with each other and like game together in real time, as opposed to just, hey, I did this with my character and I did this with my character and this is what I got coming next with my Let's Play and whatever. It was nice to really, have a little sandbox for us all to play in. So
that is true. It's it's just fun little world to build up and just kind of hang out in, and people hop in when they have time or hop out, and it's not critical to be there. Imagine if you could do that in just around like the Hearthfire homes in Skyrim, like if you could build a hall where everybody could just hang out and bounce around, like something like that, might be feasible at some point. But
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I mean, I feel like the closest that it came, it was like Tamriel Together.
Yeah.
And there might be another one, but I feel like Bethesda sort of put the brakes on that. Like that was a bridge too far for them. Like, look, we have ESO. If you want to play with your friends, you buy this product and you do that. Like you can't, that's not allowed.
Yeah.
You want to put like bikinis and like extra big dragons to shoot like ice balls and whatever. We don't care about that.
Yeah.
You want to go to some part of the map that we're never going to develop. We don't care about that.
Go ahead.
You want to cheat your way through crafting. We don't care. Oh, you want to play online? No. That's not cool. We have an app for that, sir. They just put the brakes. They just absolutely put the brakes on it. So.
Yeah, that's true. That kind of stalled where it was. I don't know what technical issues they ran into also. So, I mean, there's that.
Just lobbying. The ability, I know a little bit about it, but like the ability to build a lobby system turned into a real coding challenge for them. Like, which is beyond what I wanted. Like, I wasn't interested in Tamriel Together becoming this like
massive
free thing you could do on a server somewhere. Like, when it was a North American 1 and 2 server and a Europe 3 server, I didn't want that. I wanted LAN Skyrim. I wanted LAN multiplayer Skyrim.
Yeah. Hop in with
Minecraft.
Yeah.
You could start your own server. You invite your 3 friends, you whitelist their character names, blacklist everything else, and then you just play. And that's your world where you can jump in, jump out, jump in, jump out. Maybe someone's in there really dedicated. They're building their Hearthfire home really fast. Someone else is coming in doing a little bit less. And then you could have this whole like village attitude too, which is really interesting because I mean, there are commands in the console to obviously set the ownership of beds and stuff, right?
Oh, yes,
So you could have one person that is more into like the crafting and the house building and stuff. You get a team of those people, they build a few of the houses, but then you've got someone who really wants to get out there killing bears all the time. Well, you're bringing me the mats and you could be a village, right? You could sort of collectively play.
That would be a really great way to just experience the world without even necessarily questing too deeply, building that village, have your little quests or whatever, It would have been nice to be able to do it just in that way, like you're saying, that private server almost, and just a few people in your world.
Yeah, I think. I mean, again, like I've said this probably every time I've been on the show, except for maybe the first time. But like, if I had a wish for Elder Scrolls 6, really, that's it. It's because I'm not against ESO. I'm not against MMOs. I know I've sort of stuck my tongue out at them a little bit, but like, I mean, I bought the thing for like $4 or $12 when it was on sale. I haven't even clicked the icon. Don't tell Juan; he'll be so mad. But I know I'm supposed to make a stamina build if I do, so I remember that much.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would like that Minecraft style like LAN multiplayer. I would really like to be able to just, because it's not that I want to like exclude people I don't know. But that's just a fun thing though, right? Like to do what you're doing with Realms, for example.
Exactly.
I mean, that sort of thing. And I think it would be a lot of fun, very entertaining, and probably not all that difficult. Like they've got the foundation for the sort of the village building out of Fallout now. I mean,
that is true. Yeah. I think you're one step closer, it feels like, to what you could do.
Hearthfire was sort of stage 1, right?
Yeah.
Like we're going to set a space in our game that you can sort of manipulate. We're going to give you a bunch of pre-programmed options that we know we can render no matter what combination you make of them, right? And, you can fast travel to and from it and whatever. And then it becomes a little project, and then there's 3 of them if you want to do it. And then they move on to settlements, which is sort of that idea, just more complicated, right?
Yes.
Like that's the thing for like those poor devs and their brains, right? Is like you have to start calculating like every item I add in can be combined with every other item, and now I've got to figure out how to code and render all that, So it's not easy, but I mean it doesn't matter. I mean ES6 is going to be like 9 years, So I mean, they've got time, right?
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, well, it feels like it'll be a decade from the last one. So
I saw the best headline today. I was like you. I knew we were going to talk about the Civil War eventually. We'll get there. We'll get there. And I saw something. It was like Todd Howard is quoted as saying, like, you know, if you want us to stop porting Skyrim to other things, stop buying our ports. Stop buying our ports. Like, what do you want me to do? It's a money tree.
Yeah,
it's a money tree.
They have to make money. There's no reason not to at this point. You know,
I don't think I could, like, I would be weak in the Skyrim to get ES6 strike. Like, I would be weak. I would break down. I would cave. I would end up being at the scab, crossing the strike line. Like, I just need 5 minutes of playtime. Just 5 minutes. You know, they don't seem to be caving. Come on, let's make a deal. Give me a trailer, and then I can go back to work.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yep.
So I would definitely not survive that long. But Oh, here, I just saw something from Andrew. My phone dinged earlier. I apologize to everyone.
Okay,
but he's just mentioned he's got 10 AD uploaded in the Skyrim feed.
Oh, there you go.
Got a new episode on the Patreon.
Yes,
and the rest I won't read because it might be spoilery for his release schedule.
Yes, 10 AD should be coming out right before this episode, the next one on the feed, and they're way ahead on the patrons feed. They're like episode 10 or something like that on there.
Yeah,
as compared to here. So there's plenty backlogged. We're actually going to be putting a few more out as we go into fall. Adding some time to this in the Fallout feed because they have the roundtable going. So,
yeah, that one shot has lasted pretty long. I gotta say.
Yeah,
like that's what it was. It was supposed to be like a one-time thing or whatever, and I guess they keep coming together and finding playtime.
Exactly. Yeah, I'd like to. Yeah, like going back to the settlement thing. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. How Hearthfire into the settlements and then where it goes next, because if the settlements are exponentially bigger than Hearthfire when you consider all the people and you know, you have to go back there to help it out, you have to keep happiness going, you have to keep this going, you have to have
it's a game within a game, for sure, right?
Water and whatever else and food, et cetera, et cetera. So what is the next step beyond that once 6 comes out?
The game is perhaps a hint where it's actual like town building.
Mm-hmm.
Although I feel like that's just because of the platform it's going to be on.
Yeah.
Like unless it's 11 gigs and you have to have like an iPhone 11 or something.
Yeah.
I mean, like, although I mean, arguably, like, all of our phones are better than most of the consoles I gamed on.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
5 years ago. Right.
Yeah.
So, pretty much, but no, that idea, but although I think I'm going to take back what I said a little bit in the sense that, I feel like you're going to do a quest and you're going to unlock a building that'll just sort of like next time you load it, it'll just be added. Like, I don't feel it's going to be brick by brick.
Yeah. With blades. I agree. Yeah.
So I feel like, running around in it, like there'll be like suspiciously empty lots.
Yeah. Yeah.
Streets that you can't, there'll be like sort of like invisible walls that you can't get past yet.
That'll open up as you as you complete.
Yeah. I feel like that's the way that, like, as a completely uninitiated programmer, like, I don't know anything about programming, but that's the way I do it. Like, just from a gamer's perspective, that's what I would expect.
That seems most likely on like a for a mobile / non-mobile game, but basically to be played on mobile for the most part. That seems reasonable to think about. That is that's this fall, so I did put in for the beta. I don't know whether that happens or not.
Yeah, I signed up either for a notification or maybe again a beta through just through the Android Play Store or the Google Play Store. I mean, I got an Android phone, so that'll be good. Periodically, I see it like pop up in my Facebook feed, usually because like somebody else has just commented on it.
Yeah.
How about now? Is it now? Is it now? Like, so I got to see that like once every 3 days. Can you hear me now? Good. Yeah. So I think that's maybe in concept. That's your next step, right? Like, okay, so we gave you a single house, we gave you a small sort of settlement. What about a world where your actions had visible consequences, even if it's not brick by brick you doing it? But I mean, oh my God, like, one of the reasons I haven't played Fallout 4 is because I fully suspect to like grow a long beard and like, forget that I have children if I get into settlements,
Oh,
and the fact that it sounds like it's Now, here's a question. I presume that like it only progresses in game time, right? Like you don't have to actually like check in. Like, your water doesn't sort of run out when the game's off, right? Because Arc will do that. Arc will do that.
Oh,
does
it's all
it? Online, right?
Oh yeah, Arc will.
So you gotta you gotta show up in the morning. I have a coworker who he switched games recently, but he's playing Arc. He would get up at 4:00 in the morning
just to maintain
to do like an hour of like maintenance and feeding and all this kind of stuff before his kids were awake. Yeah, 100%. He'd have his coffee and he would do his gaming or whatever.
Oh man, yeah,
which would make going to work terrible after that. Like,
yeah, I mean, it feels
I don't
like
have enough
work.
time to pull myself away from the pillow, like
Yeah, to get up an extra hour early to do that seems exhausting. But yeah, no, the Fallout 4 obviously, yeah, once it's off, and so then game time. So you don't have to worry about things like that, thankfully. Although with Blades, I wonder if that'll be different.
Yeah, fair enough.
If it'll be real time, and you'll get notifications X is happening, or Y is happening, or
Well, I think that's exactly what's going to happen because that creates the potential for a currency.
Mm-hmm.
Gem system,
right?
Or whatever. Because if it's in real time, like the first 2 unlocks will be like go run this quest, and then 7 minutes later the merchant has set up his shop, right? You finally get to the point where it's the castle. 11 days till your castle's built, or right,
or you can
buy septums.
Yeah,
you can unlock this for 1,000 septums, only $14.99.
Oh yeah, that's a guarantee.
Septum sales around seasonal holidays, right?
Yeah, that's a guarantee. There'll be stuff like that for sure. So yeah, you'll definitely have that. It feels like you'll have that real time element. I'll be interested to see what happens when it pops up.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, like that's gonna kill my battery at least once.
Oh God, yeah.
I'm really pleased that my Samsung tablet's gonna be able to run it.
Oh, that's good. Yeah,
because that's gonna be like my version of having Skyrim on a Switch.
Yeah,
like it's a big enough screen, but it could still I could drag it to bed, or I could throw it in the backpack if I'm going to visit my parents on the weekend or whatever. You know what I mean? So I think that's how it plays out on a tablet is going to be the make or break for me.
The Switch has been so great. I have to admit, like I was never like a big Nintendo person, but man, I play both Skyrim and Minecraft on there, like tons. It's like I'll be like, I'll just like throw it in my car for work, and then at like lunch I'll be like eating and like, all right, let me pop on something, and like I'll even pop on Realms while I'm at work. I'll just share a signal with my phone or whatever, make a hotspot and play Realms for like 15-20 minutes. I'm like, okay, yeah, I did some this or that or the other thing, or I'll pop in one of my Skyrim characters and just go do a dungeon crawl for 20 minutes or whatever. And
it's like go find somebody's dead father's soul.
Yeah, exactly. And it's pretty.
I, on the other hand, use my free time to talk to my wife because I love her.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Mostly because I don't have a device big enough to play an awesome
game. It is dangerous though at lunch because all of a sudden you look and you're like, oh God, lunch is over.
And I haven't eaten yet.
I should probably stop playing this. Is anybody coming? No. Okay.
Could you imagine that with a game with save points?
Oh,
I would never make it back to work on
No,
time.
never.
Ever. Every day.
Yeah.
Every day. You're clocking in late again, Steve. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, hold on. I gotta get to the next. I gotta find a bed. Hold on.
That's right. Absolutely, something like that.
Yeah, it's definitely breathed an interesting new life into the game, having it portable like that.
Well, I'm playing it vanilla again too. I think like we all play the game vanilla out of the gate.
Yeah.
I think just if only because like there's a bit of a learning curve with mods, even if you're Steam workshopping, right? Like just even the idea of like what would I want to change? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You don't know what any of the mods mean, right? So we also have to play the vanilla game initially. And then I think like you make your own version of Skyrim. Like I think even console players now, right? But like, to go back to just the straight vanilla experience. Like that's itself would be interesting. Like I mean, I would miss camping. I would miss, some of the convenience mods and
For
stuff
sure.
that I have. I don't really overdo it, but you look at somebody who, like, what if you played with Ordinator, like every character for the last 5 years?
Yeah. I have almost
how
done
do you
that.
create
Yeah.
your concept?
That's true.
With half the perks, right?
It is true. Because I actually have pretty much done that. I think I've been on Ordinator for a long, like, I don't remember the last character I ran without Ordinator. It may have been one of the Let's Play characters, actually, just to keep it vanilla for the story.
Yeah, so you didn't have any conflicts that might break things.
Yeah. I think I just ran it straight vanilla and didn't do anything to it, just to, and have that full original story to be able to go back to, basically. So yeah. I think that may have been the last time I ran without Ordinator, because I just happen to prefer it at this point. But I mean, I did play like God knows how many hours of vanilla, so.
Well, the first 2 years of the show was all like Xbox, right?
Yeah, it was all 360. Yeah. So that was,
You've made your bones.
Half of that time,
You can put any mod you want in now, sir. You've done your time.
Half of that time was me waiting for loading screens, but
yes, that's true. That's true.
I played 1,000 hours. 500 of it was loading screens, pretty much. Especially
that's a little bit better on PC, but I noticed there's the odd thing that
it lags though.
To experiment with, and you're like, okay, it's taking a little bit longer.
Yeah, what did I add that is causing this to go really way longer than I thought it should be?
Oh, for sure. Like, I mean, whatever it is, better be amazing on the other side, or like we're ripping you up. Like, if it's just convenient water skins, I mean, you're gone. you're out the door. Can't do that.
Yeah, I don't miss the extreme load screens for sure. Some of those were, they were long. They were really long. The Switch kind of gets those a little bit too.
Yeah.
Just because it's so small, it's not super powerful. So when you start bogging down like a house or a chest with like 7,000 items for some unknown reason, it can start to bog things down if you start piling things in.
Oh, that'll happen to me too. That's actually like one of the signs that I need to go sell.
Yeah, it's like,
I'll start off the game, and like, a little bit of stamina to up your carry weight a little bit, and then like, I got a backpack mod, I got bags and bandoliers. Like, it's it's not a lot of wolf hunting before I can carry like 800 pounds, man. And like, that's a lot of daggers.
That's a lot of stuff.
Like, that's a lot of dungeon junk, right?
Yeah.
Like,
and if you
that's a podcast right there, Dungeon Junk. I don't know what that podcast is about, but that's a podcast right there.
Definitely is. And if you have gems, I mean, that's a lot of gems.
Oh, for sure.
If you've done like the Burnsiah quest, and now you're getting 50 gems every time you do something, all of a sudden you have 400 diamonds and garnets out the wazoo and everything else. It's like, they all add up. And they don't weigh that much. I find
that a bit strange about, like, and that's vanilla, right? Like, I've always found it a bit strange that like that quest gets you to the point where like you are too wealthy to carry any more money.
Oh yeah.
Like, I just can't handle it anymore. Yeah. Like, like, I'm not going to say like, unbalanced or whatever, but that always struck me as odd. Like, that your success sort of creates, I mean, it's a nice problem to have, but like, that like I have 800 gems in my inventory. Like,
oh, it completely breaks the vanilla economy because you can't even sell the stuff you're getting. You're getting so much stuff. And even if what it is good for is if you really want to grind smithing, because you have all these gems, so you can make really good jewelry, which bumps up that
smithing and alteration, of course, because you transmute everything up to gold. You make it all gold.
Yeah,
gold,
you can
whatever, or silver, whatever.
Transmute, blah blah blah. You got the gems, and you enchant it. So it really, you can grind those three like boom, 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 boom. Because, and especially if you're making higher level jewelry, more expensive jewelry, obviously, your experience goes up faster and all that. So it is nice for that. But by the time you get through, if you were doing the quest without specifically going after the Burnsiah quest, if you just kind of, it was your first time in and you were going through it, Well, first of all, there's no quest markers for it anyway, so you're not going on a quest. You just have to go
It's
search
unusual
for it.
gem. You just have to go everywhere and
Yeah.
look for pink gems. Yeah.
So by the time you're getting it, you're level in a reasonable way. Like if you came across them, you're level 30 to 35 probably.
By the time you've got them all?
I would think if you were going through it normal gameplay.
Yeah. Okay.
Not like, oh, I'm just going to do the Baron's Eye quest to kick this off, and, get a mod and have the markers for the Baron's Eye stones and blow through it and get the crown. I mean, you could probably be level 10 doing it that way, I would think.
The whoever you take it to doesn't like prompt you towards where the next one is. I've never done it. I think I picked up the unusual gem a bunch of times in the first like Temple of Arcade.
Yeah.
Yeah, you go in and you find
it's right there on the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever taken it to an appraiser, or maybe once, and I don't remember the consequence. But I thought they don't point you to where they are.
No, I don't.
There's no like I heard a rumor.
No, nope. It's you gotta get the 30 of them, I believe, and then you're good. And then the one is locked in the house in why can't I remember what Solitude. The house in Solitude that you can buy.
Oh, Proudspire Manor?
Proudspire, yeah. One's locked in
you
there.
You can bust into that one, can't you? I feel like I've broken into Proudspire Manor, not as the owner.
I don't know.
Like it might be like a really high lock. Well, no, it's just, it's probably key required, but like, there is somebody you can pickpocket if you have high enough pickpocket. That's how.
Oh, that has a key?
Yeah, I did. Like, yeah, just, I guess it would be.
Probably. The whatchamacallit?
The steward.
The steward. Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe I played a character named Switch, who was a Khajiit pickpocket.
I have a feeling I may have done that too at some point, now that you mention it. Yeah, it's one of those things where you've done so many things you don't realize.
Well, I mean, also, like, vampire attacks from Dawnguard really sort of create that circumstance a lot of the time, right?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Because you'll get like a random attack when you like fast travel in, and like the strangest people show up to fight them. You know what I mean? And then of course, if they don't make it, well, you get their inventory, right?
That is true.
So actually that happened to me recently while you're searching. I'll tell a funny story. So this happened, I was playing the live stream character Leaf. I did like 3 or 4 nature theme quests and then ran out of them, so he's sort of done. But I guess at one point there was a vampire attack, and I see Bellathor sort of kneeling over a body, and my first reaction was like, isn't this interesting? Because he seems like such a callous guy or whatever, but like there he is, he's grieving over the body of a dead friend in Whiterun or whatever, right? This was my thought. This was sort of the first idea that occurred to me, and then so I talk about that, and then like about an hour later when I'm done playing and doing something completely different, I'm like, no, he's a bastard and he was robbing that man. A little bit of this and a little bit of that. Like, I mean, that's what it was. Sneaky bugger. Like, he was looking for an opportunity to like pick over the bones of whoever. I've always liked the necklace on that,
Oh my gosh.
That's what it was for sure. And then he's gonna hand that key to some ne'er-do-well adventurer, go into their house and relieve them of their property, which he will then secondhand.
Which he'll then, yeah. Yeah, so apparently there is a key that you can steal. Fletcher's key.
The Fletcher's key?
Yeah.
Or the Fletcher's got the key?
Maybe you steal it from him. I remember doing it previously. Let's see.
Well, that's definitely how I came across it.
Yeah.
My pickpocketing character. So, who, by the way, my daughter, we talked about this before, she likes to live role play Skyrim.
Oh, yes.
Our SUV is now the gold wagon.
Oh, is the wagon from the beginning?
It's the gold wagon. Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Gold wagon and blah, blah, blah. Look, Daddy, let's play Skyrim. I'm Amelia Cat and you're Owen, and we got to watch out for that old switch. And she puts like rocks in her pockets.
Oh,
if he
real?
tries to pick her pocket, he'll just get a rock and it'll trick him. She has set him on fire. She's frozen him with her magic. She's done all kinds of like really vicious things. Like she's bloody minded, this little 5-year-old.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, for some reason she just grabbed onto the idea. Like, no, he's the villain in her imaginary story. Is my pickpocket character.
The pickpocket is
yeah, 100%. He's the guy we're watching out for. That old switch. That old switch, Daddy. Yeah, fair enough. Sometimes we redeem him. Most of the time we end up killing him.
Oh God. Yeah,
So
let's see. I don't see how to do it exactly. So you can grab the Solitude Fletcher's key to open the patio door to Proudspire.
well, then once you're in, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and I guess that's a way of also getting the gem without having to buy the house.
Yeah.
Which,
sure. Well, that makes sense that there would be a way. But,
yeah, I don't know if that's an intentional way, but it's a way.
well, that seems like a strange railroad. Like, to
Yeah.
get this last gem, I mean, of course, if it's pretty much the last one, we can refer to the previous overwhelming wealth that you now have.
Yeah,
So
because you've
buying
already
Proudspire is probably not an issue.
You've already spent 25,000 to get Proudspire or whatever it is. I think it's 25,000 for Proudspire.
Oh, that's really expensive. I didn't know that.
15, 25, something like that. It's pretty high, whatever it is. But yeah, so at that point, yeah, even if you spend all your gold, if you're amassing that amount of gold anyway, you know, you can easily recoup
now you have
that.
a nice house.
Yeah. And then once you get the gems, I mean, in the vanilla game, what is the max? Like 1,000? Or no, you can get what? 1,500 at some of the stores if you invest in them or something. If you with that certain perk.
Through the persuasion tree.
Yeah, if you go up that one and then you have the perk where you can invest in them. Is it 2,000 that you can get them up to?
I think so.
I think it might be 2,000. Yeah. So there's
a trick. What you want is the perk you want there is the one that makes any merchant buy everything.
Yes. Yeah. Then you can
that's
just
how,
sell.
That's how you solve your gem problem.
Yeah.
Right?
Because you just go sell stuff. Yeah, you go to the bar and sell all your diamonds. Or whatever. Yeah.
The butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker. Yeah. You just do your laps. For sure.
And then if you have the that's from Dragonborn, where you can get the Dremora merchant.
Yes, okay. Yeah.
That you can conjure. So he has, I think, 1,500 or 2,000.
Well, isn't there something through the Thieves Guild where you can you can
sell
like a black market merchant or something?
Yeah, there's some merchants down there as well, and then obviously merchants.
No, but isn't there
up
someone that's summonable? I feel like I was listening to. I think maybe you guys were doing like a round table or something that involved it. Or
well, Andrew,
I just the way I interpreted it was that it was summonable.
Well, that's the Dremora one.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, and Andrew was using that a lot. I recall. I think
I'm surprised he doesn't just have a merchant following him around.
Well, I'm surprised he's probably got 40 dead merchants along with the Dremora that he's conjuring.
Well, I did that actually. I did that at one game because after hearing him do the Bard's College,
oh yeah,
God, that was amazing follower tweaks, right? And I've done a few different things with that, which I've talked about before. But I had this idea that I've always thought that like Ulfberth Warbear would be a pretty good companion.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah,
I mean, look at him. I mean, if anybody's going to stand in front of a dragon for me, well, I'm sure
that's a good guy to get. Yeah,
he's he's meaty. Look at that guy. Well, and then I mean, again, I've talked about this before, but like I have this whole like headcanon now about like how he's actually this really decent human being, and he's not like you sort of you assume that he's dumb, and then blah blah blah. I had some sort of gameplay experiences that made me sort of think like, wow, he's got this really like kind and like decent heart and all this kind of stuff. And it's the only store in Skyrim with a chair that you can sit in.
Yes, it is, isn't it? Yeah, you're right.
He's the only person who cares enough about his customers to make them comfortable.
To have them be comfortable,
and other so on and so forth. But so I kind of developed this like, sort of fondness for him or whatever. And so one game I was playing, because I always have amazing follower tweaks loaded, but I don't always use it. But one game that I was playing, sure enough, like Adriana Avenici gets killed. But again, vampire attack, right?
In there.
So I'm like, you know what you need, buddy? You need a good adventure. Let's just get out on the road, forget about what's going on. Or, vengeance, also vengeance. We could hunt vampires
Go get
together.
some vampires.
I mean, either way it works, right? So, of course, every time you talk to me, he's like, we got big weapons as well as small ones. All this stuff was made lovingly by my wife, which is kind of sad when you consider why I took him on the road with me.
Yeah, why he's on this road trip.
We'll get you there, you know what I mean? Tear in his beer. But then, like, he has an inventory. He has his merchant inventory.
Oh, nice.
Now, I don't recall if it, like, refreshes after the same amount of time.
Or if
full-on traveling merchant who will murder people for you. Because AFT will also make him level up, and you can like gear him and everything like that, which is fantastic because you can buy his most expensive gear as you level up and then put it on him. Which is fantastic as well, right? So he's a lot of fun. Give him a two-handed weapon, and then just like you're halfway through the dungeon and you're starting to crawl. Well, all right, Ulfberth. You know what I mean? Don't let the name fool you. Like, yeah, fine, just buy all the shit.
Yeah, hold on. Let me sell my stuff. Wait.
So that would be really interesting. Like, do like a Merchants of Doom or something. Like, go around and like, make your team of like, okay, like what are your skills, right? So you want a general merchant like Bellathor.
Yep.
Because he'll buy, or even like the fence. You get the fence from the Thieves Guild. Maybe.
Oh yeah.
You don't have to go too far down to get access to him, right?
Yep.
But yeah, you want a general goods merchant, right? You'd want like an arms and armor merchant. I vote Ulfberth. Although, man, that orc lady from Markarth, she'd be fun.
That would be a pretty good one, also. Yeah.
But you see where I'm going with this, eh? Like, I would take the creepy alchemist from Falkreath.
Oh God,
if I was doing alchemy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then there's got to be someone who sells like enchanting supplies and stuff. You know, but whatever your skills is, buy a couple of merchants, get and then like.
Well, what's his name in Whiterun could sell you the enchanting stuff.
Sorry, who?
The mage from.
Oh, and you could get him early game. That's right. I wonder what Dragon's kind of stuff he's got under the hood.
Yeah,
like a court mage. Like, you have to be careful. Like, you better make him essential right away.
Oh yeah, because then if he dies,
release him from your service before you ever talk to Balgruf, because you'll break the game.
That'll complete. Yeah, that seems like that would create a bit of a mess.
if you were doing like no dragons, no main quest or anything, I'd like to see what he's got under the hood. Because man, he's a pretty condescending piece of work. Like, you better be able to back that shit up, mister. Like, I want to see what you're capable of here. And plus, every time you need soul gems, he's got you covered.
That's true. He's got tons of soul gems. He's got some spells. He definitely is very, very condescending.
So you could also make like a court wizard party. And look at this. Look at what happens. Like one mod and like thousands of hours of gameplay.
Man, a court wizard party would be pretty intense, actually.
Oh, and you get the vampire lady too from the Blue Palace.
From the Blue Palace, yeah.
Like, she'd be interesting. Like when push really came to shove, she's quite dangerous. I had her in an all vampire party I built.
Oh, did you? Oh, wow.
Yeah. I built an endgame vampire to see what that was like.
Oh,
and even on legendary with like 4 other like named vampires, it was just easy mode. It was crazy.
Really? Wow.
Well, come on. Like, doesn't matter what you go up against. They all sort of start kicking out their drain spell.
Yeah.
Right. And then it gets down to next to nothing. And then, like, well, one of them is a super powerful destruction mage. And this other one was like, I don't remember. Who did I pick? I got the Dengir's older brother or cousin or uncle or whatever it was. But I had a couple of them. Like, they were all named vampires, but like reasonably powerful. And vampires are dangerous, right? So as long as you're not fighting anything that breathes fire, it's pretty. It's pretty.
Yeah. That's true.
Solid party construction. Yeah,
you got several of them doing a drain spell. You're really whacking things down pretty quickly.
Oh, and they will. Yeah, for sure. I mean, maybe not all the time. And you can monkey with that. Like, you could go in and say someone just to use magic, someone is just sword and board or whatever. Like, it's a pretty deep mod in terms of that, which is one of the reasons I really like it. I mean, half the time I will just pick the companion that I want, but I will AFT them. So that I can have the greater control over their behavior. We always joke about like killing Lydia, right? Well, you can just tell her through like AFT, you can alter her behavior in such a way that, she'll always stay behind you or whatever.
Yes, that's good. So. Yeah, that does make for some interesting running parties though, man. The wizard.
Oh yeah, it's endless. Like, I mean, I can see the gears turning in your brain right now. Like, court wizards would be good. Go ahead, sorry.
All the barkeeps. Take all the barkeeps.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Bartender party.
That's right.
And just travel from bar to bar to location to location.
Draft all the bards, and you'll be like a boy band on the road.
Yeah.
Traveling boy band for sure.
Grab all those drunk guys revelers you come across on the side of the road. Take them with you.
That'd be okay. That'd be all right. Yeah.
But yeah, no, the mages of each hold would be interesting. Yeah. The merchant one I really like. That's very interesting.
Well, because again, like the cheat there is that they keep their inventory, and if it refreshes, what you've got is you've got access to whatever you're crafting.
Whatever, yeah.
So you could pick them based on the skills you wanted to do. Like it'd be the sort of like a companion that's a trainer.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they cap out, but it's a similar idea, like similar benefit, right?
Same concept, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. The Merchants is fun. I really enjoyed. We were going to talk about Civil War, and we can spitball other crazy parties if you want. But I really enjoyed. I played that with AFT. It was one of the first times.
Oh,
I
did you?
Played a dedicated game. I went Imperial. They send you off to some fort. I forget the name of it, but like, you know, go prove yourself, and you come back, right? Well, like, I really like the idea of like now I'm important enough to be in charge of people.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like it's like, come on, we're playing a Civil War. This is the army. Like I know it's a single player game, but that mod gives you the ability. The smallest unit in the Roman army was called the Contubernium, which was 8 people, right? So that was actually what that's what I named my save file. I tried to get as close to that as possible. So my idea is the auxiliary, and then you level up or whatever. But you know, you got put in charge. You know, you prove yourself. Okay, so now you're in charge of the smallest unit of people in the empire. You have this small adventuring party. Was my logic. And so to come back around to the court wizard idea, what I did is I was smart enough to leave Ricca alone, but there's a second legate right in that castle down.
In that same,
He's not important. He doesn't matter, right? Mm-hmm. So you can take him, and then you can find at least 2 pre-war in other Jarl's courts. You find 2 other legates, right? Mm-hmm. And then I think once you get through Whiterun, you unlock the legate that's sent there, because now he's just useless. He's just wandering around. He's never going to matter in the story again. You grab him, and I mean, there's Imperial soldiers all over the place, so you can kind of fill your ranks with these low guys. But then you just as you sort of, it didn't take very long before like it was me and 5 legates.
Nice.
Walking around. I mean, there was a screenshot in the group of it at one point, but like, so this idea that like I was fighting on the side of the Empire, and you know, I had these like really powerful, like proper Roman looking soldiers, gave them all the Imperial shields, and oh my God, it was just Blender City. Like, so the Battle of Whiterun, absolutely epic. I thought it was fantastic. Probably one of the single most enjoyable like cinematic experiences I've had in Skyrim. You know, like it's up there with like, oh my God, that's a dragon freeing me from Helgen.
Yeah, when that
right,
like
it's this epic moment, right? My crew planted their feet in the first arch, right next to where the Khajiit set up their camp, just up from the stables. That's it. That was the end of the battle. Blender. Just because Rick is also there with her crossbow, like shooting people and stuff like that. So you've got all the like sort of sundry assorted Imperial guys. Like Hadvar comes in at one point, you know, off the top rope, and he's helping out. But there's those barricades there, right? And then I've got my 5 guys basically just lined up. Like you can't position them really specifically, but they'll stay relatively close to you. So I like stood under the bridge, and they would be out just a little bit in front of me, like aggroing, and that was it. Like nobody got through. Like they're supposed to make it all the way to like Balgruuf's.
Yeah, pretty far up.
And then there's like a showdown and all this.
Yeah.
None of this happens. Wow. None of this happens. It was actually like a bit glitchy when I went into the castle the first time.
Because of all, clearing it out.
Like prior. I had to go in there and unlock. I had to actually go in there to, I guess, trick the game into thinking that we had gone that far. Yeah. Like back into the town, so that he would come out and make his speech on the ramparts to move on. To the next, Yeah. And then I took Hadvar with me. So I had 4 legates and Hadvar in my group. I thought that was very fitting, actually. I don't know if I never finished that playthrough. So I don't know if like having him in my party breaks something later. But the idea, like we escape Helgen together, I go and join the Legion, I bring up my reputation and my rank, we shed blood together in Whiterun, and then boom, you're on my team.
Then you're on you're
on my team. You're in my unit now, you know?
Yeah, that really works well story-wise too, yeah.
And you can do the same thing with Stormcloaks, right? So that's a really fun use of AFT. And then like everything else, like the vampires, the idea was like every vampire has a coven, or witches, right? Like we all kill a niece at some point and steal her house. Yeah. Well, you could actually create a witch's coven.
That's true.
And if you can calm them before you shoot the spell at them, like if you have pacify or whatever high enough, like you could get real NPCs. Like you could just go out and find like an NPC witch. Or like hag ravens or something if you wanted. You'd have to have really powerful, I guess, illusion magic.
Yeah, you would have to be very high level illusion. Yeah, probably close to 100, I would think, for
Maybe,
some
like, it
of
would
them.
be sort of like a late
yeah.
game, just, or you tweak your character
Yeah,
ahead of time.
Yeah.
But so I think that's really neat. Is like it adds this like extra layer, like because Skyrim's really interesting and it's nice to have the one companion, but like some of them will have a side quest maybe or like an opinion here or there. Like, but I find like the quest companions often leave you. And like the non-quest people, like the Lydias of the world who will follow you, like Lydia doesn't have her story. Well, I mean, McBeta, but I mean,
yes,
she doesn't have her own story really, right? You're not doing anything for Lydia.
Yeah,
she doesn't change, right? So she's not so interesting from that respect. Whereas like if I could create a group of people, like I think Andrew just has his favorites, but like my thing is with AFT, it's always like if I could create a group of people that makes sense to me, you know, then that's how I sort of adventure. And if they happen to have dialogue, great. If they don't, great. You know, you can just turn that off if you get tired of it as well. But one of my other favorites too is Sherry was talking about doing a blacksmith playthrough.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So I'd taken around with that idea before. I've played like a pure alchemist. So I thought, well, let's try blacksmithing this time, you know? So I did that because I thought that was a neat idea. Played a Red Guard because of course they have the they get a boost to smithing.
Yes. Yeah.
And I made him really big and beefy. He looked like a badass, like, and just like had him in his apron, like hitting the forge.
Nice.
Like, you know, they're all big and muscly. It's like, you look like you can swing a metal hammer.
That makes sense. This all makes sense.
Plate, you know? But what I did with him using AFT was there is a Red Guard boy who is homeless in Dawnstar.
Oh, yes.
He's one of the potential orphans, right?
Yep.
So I straight up adopt him. But then I hit him with the AFT spell. And now he will follow me around everywhere.
Oh, nice.
I gave him an enchanted wooden sword. And I have a Chesco's lantern, so I made him like carry my lantern in the offhand. And I downloaded some like kids winter clothing or whatever mod. There are out there. I couldn't now that I'm using Mod Organizer, I might be able to find one that'll work. But like there's actually like children fight back and like kid-sized armor. But I used to love walking around with my little guy because he was like so plucky, right? Like something would come out of the bushes at you and like, you know, he's got the lantern and he'd yank out his wooden sword and like, you know, he'd get down into the ready position. And then as soon as you started fighting, he's like, no, he'd like run away, he'd run like 20 feet down the road and just like, you know, wait for me to clean up the mess. But yeah, like I dragged my kid. I took my kid everywhere I went.
That's nice.
Yeah, you know, so like it's just that extra little layer of things, right? So you'd go to the inn and you'd buy a sweet roll and you just give it to him.
And just give it to him. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, like you don't have to go all the way home for that, right?
Yep.
Or you know, so there's lots of ways to have fun. Lots of ways to have fun with that.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah. You know, I haven't played enough with that, and that's really something I should explore more. Just because you can really, because one of my last characters, I was doing something similar to Sherry, where I was just doing, I was just hunting, gathering, and then smithing and selling my stuff. That's all I was doing. Like my day was, I was living in like a tree house in between Riverwood and Whiterun, and I would go out during the day, hunt in the plains there in the valley by Whiterun, bring my stuff back at night, and obviously I was playing with I think I had like Frostfall and all that stuff going on. So yeah, all kinds of survival mods or needs mods going on.
Yeah, for sure.
So
I love IDs. I really do.
Yeah.
I think that, like set to about the default of 3 or 4. I think it's just enough to like add a bit of realism,
yes,
but not enough to really pull you out of the game.
To not, yeah. I had it set so it was like I wasn't like freezing as soon as I stepped out the door or whatever, you know, all kinds of stuff like that, or like starving in 5 minutes or whatever it was. But yeah, it was just living in that world. Just like I would go to town, sell my wares, go back, do some hunting, eat, you know, make some food, all that. It was I probably played a good 20, 30 hours of it. It was an interesting, just something different, you know?
There's a lot of potential in Skyrim if you decide that you're willing to not be important. You know what I mean? Like everybody, you know, by default, you're the hero or whatever, right? But like there's a lot of like interesting, quirky little potential and all kinds of crazy ways that you can like come up with storylines and ideas and all this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? And like, and when you consider too, this is something that ties into AFT as well, but like, you can marry pretty much anybody in the game.
Yeah.
Like, so, if you sort of decide ahead of time, like, I just want to like live in Rorikstead.
That's it. Yeah.
And, and like, that's your jump off point for whatever else you're going to do. Right. Well, do the Temple of Mara thing. And there's got to be somebody there you can marry. Right. But here is a neat idea. Like, maybe I'll have to do this next time. But I mean, I guess you can marry some of the companions that are by default in the game. But like, if there was someone that you wanted to marry, you could, again, AFT them and bring your spouse for an adventure.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you just, the family that slays together stays together, right? Together. Like, and like, throw a kid, throw 2 kids. You could have 3 kids. You get up to 5, or 2 kids and a dog. There you go. You're just a traveling family.
Or a goat.
You're a family of murder hobos. That sort of
a family of murder. You get Gletta the goat with you. You can get a dog. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Not Barbas, though.
No, because he talks.
I got to be honest. Like, anytime I want a dog, I straight up cheat, and I just like summon like Sealang. Summon one of the Huskies.
Yeah.
Summon one of the Huskies, and then like in my Dawn Guard playthrough, I forgot to like. You shouldn't really do this, I guess, but like normally I'll just make a companion essential if they're not. I don't want to deal with it.
Yeah, it's just I understand.
Like if I've picked a companion, like, hey, look, if I can like be a being immortal.
Yeah, pretty much.
Save reload after save reload. If I can auto save every 6 feet in this game, right? I don't feel like I have to explain the fact that I'm going to make my companion essential.
Yeah.
So I mean, you remember it was like, this is funny too. It's the only episode of my Dawn Guard audio Let's Play that got flagged for explicit because I
that's
killed
right.
my own dog.
That's right. Yeah. Yes. I do recall that. Yeah.
So no, I'm a big fan. But like, and the best part, okay, you can mute them.
Oh, can you?
You can turn off idle chatter.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Which will stop the side comment and like, join my ruins, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But it stops your dog from barking.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure it works. There's that one, or there's something very similar, but you can stop them from making noise. Or you just put them in stealth mode all the time. That works too. But,
yeah, that works. Yeah. Yeah, but I can see why idle chatter would eliminate the barking. That would make sense that they would be under the same umbrella.
Well, it's so immersion breaking because like I'm carrying Sealang around with my my Dark Brotherhood character, which is slowly inching the chains forward. I playing a bit of Minecraft. I bought a new game recently that's like caused me to sleep about 4 hours. We're going to work today, so I have not been doing a lot of Skyrim lately, to be honest, but. He would sit there and he would like bark while I was like muffled and in stealth mode.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Ready to like assassinate somebody from like a long range. And they don't notice. They don't turn around.
They don't even look. Yeah.
They don't even look. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess fair enough. But like, also like, I love you, Bethesda. I really, you've given me literally thousands of hours of joy. Well, mostly joy. Let's say hundreds of hours of joy, thousands of hours of play.
Yeah.
But come on, like, you don't have like a talk to the dog hush option.
Just a simple command. Yeah.
Like you can, like, I mean, I can do like 19 things with most of the stock companions. I can't talk to this dog and tell him to be quiet.
I noticed that actually today, because in the very beginning of my play with the new character, I grabbed a stray dog that was along the coast, and I'm like, all right, I was sneaking because I had nothing, no weapons, gear, nothing. I had a little bit of magic, and so I was like, all right, I had some wolves that I had to take care of or whatever. It wasn't a big deal. But I'm sneaking in there as a dog. I think I went into like Ingvid ruins or something like that. So we sneak in, and the dog's just barking away, barking at the Draugr. It's not turning around. I'm like, that's a little weird. This is kind of throwing off everything for me, but yeah. Yeah, so I kind of experienced the dog barking thing specifically today. I'm
sure there's a hush puppy mod out there.
There's got to be, yeah. I remember, was it Andrew's Bard playthrough? He had the dog with him the whole time that didn't stop barking.
He had Barbas as well, didn't he?
Oh, yeah, he had
picked up Barbas and he bought the Markarth dog.
Yeah, he had lots of things.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I don't know how he survived that. How his machine survived the playthrough, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, and he was a console player at that
Yeah,
time. He might be PC in it now, but like
no, he plays on I believe Xbox still, Xbox One. So yeah, so there are obviously mods available. But that time, I think he was just using the game itself and workarounds within the game. You know, the what is the stone? The one where you can raise the dead. He was using that plus.
yeah, the ritual stone. Yeah, that's fantastic.
ritual
Oh my
stone.
god, I
Yeah.
played a necromancer and I kicked off that stone and I finally used that power. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my god,
Yes.
now I feel like a necromancer because you
Yeah.
don't. You can't. Come on, out of the gate, you should be able to raise a zombie. I mean, you know, or whatever, right? But like and stuff like that. But like the idea that like you're conjuring flame astronauts. But anyways, I digress. But yeah, like wow, you set that off the first time.
Oh yeah, that's a whole different level of.
That's astounding, and like just in a room full of dead guys too. Like you know, I mean, it's just a range. The game does not care how many people there are. There's no limit on that as far as what I've seen, or it's so high as to be.
It's got to be pretty high because that's what he used, and I mean I forget what it was, maybe 30 followers at some point or something, some insane amount. I mean, it's got to be so taxing on an Xbox, but
yeah, I gotta say, I mean, like this, I'm not an Xbox player, but like we've been talking about AFT a bit, but like I find that it's been surprisingly stable having that many people. Like I would expect more glitching and they just get in the way. That's all it is. They just make it hard to get through doors.
Oh yeah, I imagine that's
really the only problem. You know what I mean?
When you have a significant amount of people, it's got to be a pain getting through doors.
But again, AFT is fantastic for this too. You can tell them all to like wait here, and then you skulk through or whatever you want to do, and then you can you just draw your weapon, and they will auto teleport to you.
And they all come to you.
Well, that's a setting you can turn off or on, right?
Okay.
So like it's called catch up on draw weapon or something. So it's great if you lose them too. Like if you're like me and you're a billy goat, and you're like, I'm not going around.
Yeah.
No going around. This is clearly going to be faster, even though I'm going to clip for 7 minutes. It's faster to go right over this hill, right? And then, well, where's your companion? God knows.
Following the road, yeah.
You know, doing whatever, you know what I mean? Going back to their house because they've decided they can't find you,
yeah.
Right? And then you just shing, and then poof, they just come running up out of the trees. Quite like that. So that's a good one. So there's always ways around it, but yeah, that's really that's to be honest, that's the only sort of drawback I found. I mean, I didn't hear my fan grinding too much.
That's
and
good.
The game itself doesn't seem to like bug.
Doesn't seem to bug out or anything.
Yeah, so that seems to work pretty well. But anyways, yeah, that was a very interesting way to play the Civil War, which I guess you had wanted to bring up as part of the chatter today, right?
Yeah, I mean we could save it for next time, but we'll.
Oh my God, have we already talked so long that we're considering next time? Is that what's happened?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I think we're over an hour already.
Yeah, fair enough.
So yeah, but I mean we can. Why don't we touch on the topic in case people want to chime in for next time and give people an idea. Because I was just thinking about how it plays out, how it works functionally within the game, and I actually what you had brought up about the legates and all that stuff, and taking them with you with using AFT. I was thinking about that earlier, like why it would have been nice if in the vanilla game itself, as you went through the missions for either side, it was more than just you meet up with these people here and run in with them. You were like actually commanding a group of people, or a small group of people to go on a mission. Like
even if it was just conversational, right?
Yeah,
like say at a fort, you're like there would be like some strategy session that you were a part of,
and make decisions about. Yeah,
you could suggest like a number of forces. Well, I mean, sorry, you carry on. I have a bunch of ideas. I've been thinking about this all day, so I won't go on too long. But as far as pluses and minuses, carry on, but then I'll chime in.
Oh yeah, but I mean, like they did something like this. Oddly enough, in the last Oblivion Roundtable, there's a quest we did where you actually make these different choices for these battles, and to be able to go through it. So, I mean, that was a long time ago. So you would have thought they could have added that on to it, but yeah, it would have been nice to have a little more. Felt like you were actually advancing as you went through the quest lines within the ranks, as opposed to kind of just being like this solo, almost like specialist who comes in to every
They
mission.
sort of treat you like a mercenary.
Yeah,
Like your rank goes up in the way that they'll address you, but
that's about it.
effectively they
Though.
treat
Yeah.
you like a mercenary.
Yeah, pretty much.
Isn't it weird that there isn't a default Imperial companion or a default Stormcloak companion? Like, so it's you and Lydia, or it's you and Janassa, or it's you and Ulfberth Warbear, whatever.
Yeah,
right? Like,
amazingly,
it's whoever, like, just running around. Like, you're never not an auxiliary, but sorry, go ahead.
If you could get companions specifically from the Stormcloaks or from the Imperials, it will at least add a little bit to it,
Even just one.
Yeah.
Some like Galmar's got a wet behind the ears keener of an assistant. He's like, get this kid out of my hair.
Mm-hmm.
Or whatever, right? Like, it could be a very simple reason. He needs to be blooded. Take him with you on the next mission.
Yeah.
Whatever, right? Yeah. Some potential there, but no, I think my overall opinion, like, to be fair, I've not finished it. I've played about the same distance on both sides, but I would say about the main quest, number one, it feels more like the main quest in Skyrim than the main quest to me.
Yeah,
it feels like I mean, obviously the Return of the Dragons and the fact that you are like a god reborn or whatever is kind of a big deal, but I feel like that's the quest about Skyrim. The Dragonborn quest is about you. It's the single player quest.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Also, there's a lot of rails on the main quest, right?
Yes.
So, like, because, well, what are you doing? I mean, regardless of how else you're playing, it's all about like unlocking your foos and so on and so forth, right? Like, whereas you can be anyone and be a Stormcloak. You can be anyone and be an Imperial, right? Like, you don't have to put on the heavy armor and get the sword and whatever. Like, you could be any class, any build concept, whatever. As long as you're a patriot of one side or the other, you're in the game. So it feels like it's more welcoming, if you will, less railroady in terms of like how your character is going to develop while you're doing it. So I feel that like that, and of course it takes you to many places in Skyrim, right? So it's a reason to explore, as many of the other quests do. But I feel like that to me was almost, I felt more satisfied in the time that I played the Civil War quest line and more immersed than I've ever felt going through the steps of the Dragonborn quest line.
Yeah,
Which leads to my next point. I do like that idea. So, loosely you were saying like, how would that kind of carry over to the next Elder Scrolls? So like a world level main quest, if you will, like, that's going to affect the whole province, the whole game world. And then you've got this sort of personal quest, right? In being the Dragonborn, which has world consequences, but it's more about just your development as a person. I did not like that you got railroaded at Whiterun into the main quest.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And then I guess I've never gone down the main quest far enough to do season unending and like interrupt the war, but that seems strange to me too. Like, I feel like that quest, I mean, just as it is, to say nothing of how you might improve it, just as it is, like, there's enough going on there that like you should just be able to play that.
Yes, without.
You know what I mean? Like, particularly if you're a Stormcloak. I mean, how weird is it that like you're going to be, more Ulfric than Ulfric 5 minutes into this quest because you got more shouts than him?
Because you have,
whatever, right? So I would think that like, and if I'm going to nitpick now, so I've said some nice things. I've said some nice things. I think Civil War is fantastic. There's a little bit of everything in there. You've got some epic battles. You've got a bit of like subterfuge where like, forge documents, a bit of like, if you're a bit of a stealthy guy, like each side's got to break people out of jail version. And
yes,
like, it's not super deep, but I mean, you're going to get a few hours playtime out of it. It's just fine. But I would say that like, if I had things I was going to complain about in this regard, I feel like the end of it is sort of, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but we'll start with this. Like, it's sort of like, is that it? Like, you just sort of, you do it all and you just change the banners.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
The world doesn't really feel like it's changed. Like the Thalmor should lose their mind at some point in this. Like, I mean, pick a side. I don't care which one it is, but like, like if you win as Ulfric and the Stormcloaks, like, they should come over the hills because this was their whole plan.
Yeah.
Was to weaken Skyrim. Like there should be some big ass consequence that maybe then creates a reason for you to go off and be the Dragonborn. If you want to do it that way.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that this is nitpicky as well, but you mentioned this earlier, the camps.
Mm-hmm.
The camps. I mean, like they should be part of the quest, especially if they're treating you like a mercenary special ops guy.
Yeah.
Like you should be able to clear those things out ahead of time and weaken the forces you'll fight later.
Yeah. So they're
there
not
should be
just
some direct
there.
impact on that, or like you should just be able to wipe them out as opposed to having the last guy be essential.
Yeah,
or like after you defeat the fort, at least make him not essential. But this idea that like I would feel like if I was in charge of either force and I could send someone to ambush their camp, like I would do that.
Mm-hmm.
So that seems like a missed opportunity to me. And then one other thing that I thought would be interesting, and this is maybe like into the next game. You always hear in talk of war, like you got to win the war of hearts and minds. It's hearts and minds, right? It's not enough to just conquer the land.
Mm-hmm.
The people have to want you there, right? They have to want your help, so on and so forth. So now you have bounty quests and other sort of fetch quests and stuff you can generate from bartenders.
Yeah.
Doing stuff for people in towns or villages, right? I would like to see something like that, like impact it could all be behind the screens. I don't need to actually see it, but like could impact like a slider, if you will, of like goodwill.
Yeah. Within.
So if you get enough of the townspeople, well, maybe there are fewer enemies at the thing, or maybe there's some other benefit to your troops, or you know what I mean? Like you do 3 quests for the innkeeper and you change the Jarl's mood. So maybe you can, like, are there ways like you wipe out the camp and you do a bunch of hearts and minds stuff. And now that Jarl's like, you know what? Maybe I'm with you. I don't want these Imperials on my territory anymore. So you could win through diplomacy. And I don't feel like those things are, I mean, you want to be careful with straight up just conversation options, because why wouldn't you just grind your like speech skill?
Then you just, exactly.
But I mean, that would only be satisfying once and people would play the game straight. But like, so I think, the idea that it feels on the one hand, like it feels like the main quest of the game. So there's a lot of potential for that. It does take you to a lot of interesting places, right? But where I think it falls short is it doesn't feel connected to the world in a couple of really key ways. In that like conversations and stuff barely change after you win. There's no obvious impact.
There's very little.
So I'd like to see like along the way, I'd like to see a little bit more of it being connected to the world. Mm-hmm. Like through NPCs in some fashion, like not that they all have to be on one side or the other or whatever, but just like I say, like that hearts and minds stuff is just one example of what I'm thinking of, but and then like an actual consequence, would be nice.
Yeah, that's one thing that's certainly lacking is the actual consequences, because you really don't, like you were saying, you don't really notice it so much after you're done the Civil War. It's kind of just. Yeah, there's little mentions, there's this, there's that, but there's no, some of the Jarls change or whatever, but not in a way that really affects you or anything like that. So that's one of the things I would have liked to have seen different. I mean, I guess it was probably a limitation thing for them, because I know Civil War is one of the tougher quests a mod, just because of how many things it is tied into, especially
touches everything. Touches everything. Civil War Overhaul is apparently quite good but quite buggy. I was talking to Victor about it today.
Yeah, it's got to be, because it's involved in so many different aspects of the game. So I guess it was just a limitation of what they could do at that point.
Oh no, I'm not meaning to throw stones. We're just sort of spitballing.
Oh yeah. No, but I agree. I think
if we're going to complain, that would be sort of where I
for
was.
Sure.
A really neat thing from Civil War Overhaul, what Victor was telling me today, because I quizzed him. Normally he would be like the mod guy, and I'd be like, Victor, tell us about Civil War Overhaul, and then I would just like smoke for 5 minutes, and he would talk. It'd be fantastic. But he told me that one of the interesting things in there is that the Forsworn become like a third faction.
That's very interesting.
Advantage of the chaos.
Yeah.
So here, I want you to imagine. If I don't even know if this is possible with Civil War Overhaul, but I want you to imagine that you are the Dragonborn, because you're being sent down that path anyways. Mm-hmm. But you run the Dragonborn side of it down, and then you start the Civil War, because arguably there's a good case to be made for doing it that way.
Yeah.
Well, like, come on, you are the returned God King. and then you go in and you pick a side and you conquer Skyrim. I mean, that seems pretty,
Makes
that seems
sense.
to flow pretty well.
Yeah.
To me, right? But I want you to imagine a world where you are the Dragonborn, you side with the Forsworn, and you somehow carve out your own like kingdom, your own like hold or whatever, as a result of the Civil War, like playing both sides off of each other, this and that, taking advantage of like one side has just finished a bloody battle and like they're staffing the fort with like the fewest, like the minimum number of people or whatever, right? Well, then you roll in with your Forsworn, take it over. Like the idea is like, much like sort of the Thalmor have like a political scheme, right?
Yeah.
From top down. I like the idea that the Forsworn would have some sort of like bottom up, like they would just see this opportunity, Like, I mean, I'm sure at some point in history, like when the French and the British were fighting the Scots, were like, hey, this is a great opportunity to take that castle over.
Oh, we could take that back. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, hey, great. They're all over in France. They're busy. So like, I think there's some really interesting potential in that. I've never played it, but that really like perked me up.
And that makes a lot of sense lore-wise also for the Forsworn. They wouldn't really be jumping on a side at this point in their history. They just want what they want. So, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Oh my God. I mean, you would want to foment that war. Like you would have similar motivations to the Thalmor.
Yeah.
In that, like, really more war is better.
Yeah.
So you'd want to like maybe help the Imperials over there and then helps the Stormcloaks over there. And then, and so on and so forth. Right. Like you would want to get them to kill as many of each other as possible and then pounce.
And then's your time. Yeah. Yeah. It would have been interesting to see them slowly expand out during that, if that was the case. I mean, that kind of changes the whole Forsworn storyline in Markarth, but I think it might have actually been better if it had worked into the Civil War some, like you were saying.
Well, even just, that wouldn't be all that hard to do. It's like if you side with Madnak and you get him out of there, well, you're favorable with his one band of Forsworn, right?
Yeah.
Well, if you have done that prior to doing Civil War, there could be some consequence. Like if you hadn't, that stuff wouldn't factor in. But you know what I mean? Like it's sort of just if then, like if you do it in this order, well, now that you have an allegiance to that person, you can converse with them as it goes on, whether you side with them or they're just like an annoying third party or whatever. Like you'd have some ability to dialogue with them, which would be important. Which regardless of which side you've chosen, it could come out like, hey, you've been in Sidna mine. What do you know about these Forsworn people? You know what I mean? And then so it would just be like you could be an emissary or whatever, right? And so on and so forth. And then if I was the Forsworn, I'm like, oh, I'll help you, but I want a land grant.
Yeah.
And then you get that land grant and you fight that one battle. Then you betray them and go fight for the other people and get the piece of land next to it. Whatever, right? But now we're getting to the realm of imagination. But,
but they could expand. I mean, there's plenty of areas of the map that they could slowly, take over or have a fort or, have a bandit hold or fort or whatever. Switch over.
They've got 3 or 4 pretty sizable camps over the Reach.
Yeah,
they're in charge of like Kolskegger Mine when you start the game.
Yeah,
so they've got like an economy. They've got fortifications.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole bunch of land that's just rocks and bears.
Just a lot of land. Yeah,
there, right?
Yeah, that is for sure. If they could slowly expand out from there, that would be interesting.
Yeah, 100%. And then you're just the third way, the third wave, and just take over the map.
Yeah. While nobody's looking.
Hey, now, there you go. So here's a thought for the third game then. What if it's Elder Scrolls as we understand it, but there's a bit of that like Risk RTS strategy game to it. Like if that's how you used a Civil War style quest where you were actually like you're taking land and potentially like you wouldn't want to force people down this line necessarily, but maybe if you've chosen a side and you're starting that, like you unlock areas by conquering them.
Yeah.
Or something like that, right? In that same idea we were talking earlier about like you bump into the invisible wall, until you've unlocked something. But but I mean, that'd be interesting. I mean, the real question would come down to though, like obviously where's the game going to be set, and then you'd have to figure out like what's suitable in terms of
lore wise and all that. Yeah,
who they would be. The only thing I would say about that, otherwise, and we'll see what people think about this, but like, do you think it would be Bethesda like going back to the well. Like, so there's two ways it could go. Either one, like, man, come on, we just did this in Skyrim, or two, whoa, this is the Civil War I wanted in Skyrim.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It doesn't have to be. It doesn't necessarily have to be a civil war. It could be, if you're on the next game, maybe it's two different two different areas battling each other. Whatever it is.
Yeah, or any two factions, right?
Or two factions, or they have two
general
separate
rivalries between guilds would be interesting.
Like
if you could also say enter the Silver Hand in Skyrim.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like you would have your own little sort of like, private war going on, sort of like the Dawn Guard or the Volkihar clan, right? Like you can make a choice there. And I mean, that comes to a resolution, of course, but it would be nice to see more factional tension like that.
Yeah, that would
be like
a
bunch of mini civil wars, if you will, right?
Yeah, like something you would expect in a place like that, really.
Yeah, I mean, like, because you don't really end up gaining the favor of the Forsworn, and once you get Madnak out, like, you don't really do anything with them ever again.
No,
there's one small band of them who won't shoot you on sight.
Yeah, and that's about it. There's no benefit to siding with him in the end.
But like again, that could be a setup for okay, you're going to take on Markarth now, so it's you versus the Jarl. You know what I mean? That sort of stuff. So I think like even small scale civil wars in that way might work like that, just as a mechanic. Where you could have any number of factions that could be rivals if you join them, or if you join them, you end up on a side between these events that are going on that you might not otherwise see if you're not part of it. Like the Silver Hand, most of the time, they don't matter to you if you're not in the companions. But all of a sudden, you're like, whoa, these people are really important to me because they're trying to kill me because I'm or whatever, right? So, and that's the nice thing about Skyrim too, is that there's so much that you can just sort of that you can pass by. Like you can live a whole life and sort of not know that this faction or this group or whatever even exists.
That's very true. Yeah, you can go through the whole cycle of a character and not come across certain factions at all. Yeah. Like you could easily miss the Forsworn if like you're concentrating on the main quest and things like that.
But yeah, I would say that in the final moment, if there's something like a civil war in the next game, however they put it together, I want to see it and feel it when it's done.
Yes, for sure. That's a definite.
That's my thing. That's my thing. I want to see it and feel it when it's done.
Tangible changes.
Yeah, but it shouldn't end the game.
No.
But it should end certain things. Do you know what I mean? Like as an encouragement to go back and play the other side of it or whatever. Yeah. But like it should open some doors, close other doors, fundamentally change the way the place looks. You maybe not actually physically looks, but you take my point. But you should feel it. There should be a real consequence, and and it should have meaningful impact. Like because you can do either side of the Civil War and do pretty much every other quest line as well after,
without any trouble from anyone at all.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
Yeah. No random factions around trying to stop you. Nobody. Still holding grudges that nothing really. Yeah,
like you could turn around and join the companions even if you've just conquered Whiterun.
Yeah, and nobody even blinks.
They would probably not like that, don't you think?
Yeah, I think they would be pretty upset that the town was burning around them.
Right?
They might be slightly upset. Oh yeah, that house next door burned to the ground. Thanks.
Hey man, do you see them? Do they come out and fight? Because I said my one experience with Whiterun, just because I was using AFT, like it didn't go into the city, but like, do they come out and like go full beast mode and stuff?
That's a good question. I don't recall actually. It's been a little while since I played. Actually, I don't see. Let's see. It doesn't really say on the UESP. I don't recall.
Well, everybody who knows the answer is already shouting it at their
Yeah. So. I mean, because it's just been a little. I haven't done the Civil War quest in quite a while, actually. It's probably been a couple of years since I played it, as a matter of fact.
Probably the round table?
Possibly. I may have played it after that.
Yeah.
But I think, the Civil War round table, I don't even know when that was. God, that could have been like...
A couple of years.
Yeah, it could have been like 3 years ago. Damn. I don't know if the companions come out. Maybe because a lot of the people in town kind of hunker down inside, I believe, during it.
Yeah, fair enough.
So maybe it's to protect those characters, because they're not some people aren't like you have a lot of non-essential people.
The vampires can kill almost anyone.
Yeah, so it may be a mechanic where they go and hide because of the battle. Because otherwise,
there's a mod that needs to exist: is essential merchants.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. I mean, if you're just gonna like destroy Riverwood, like someone I know has done repeatedly, it would be nice if the blacksmith was still there when you were done.
That would be helpful, because I hate going there and you're like, where's he at? Why can't I sell him anything? Oh, he's dead.
But not Lucan. It's everyone, like Lucan is off the essential list.
Oh yeah, for sure.
He doesn't. He earned my ire. When I bring back the claw. It's like, it's a lot smaller than I remember. And I literally like swore it. I swore it the first time he said that to me. Because I didn't have hundreds and hundreds of hours into this game, so I didn't like know how to speed run Bleak Falls Barrel. And
it was a long grind.
Yet, and all this kind of thing. Right? Like I'm like, you dirty SOB. Like, I had to go through to give me this damn thing. It's still smaller than I remember.
Oh, man.
Maybe I'll keep it, you jerk. How do you like that? I'm stealing all your potions now for that. Oh, yeah. That was like, you smarty bastard. You ingrate.
Yeah, he's
perhaps more colorful than that. But yeah, you ingrate.
He's definitely one of the ones you don't mind disappearing.
No, for sure. He's good to go.
Yeah, the consequences are a big part for sure. And I'm still trying to think. I don't think you see the companions out there.
Well, I would say like that's just maybe it's just a function of sandbox games, I guess, because the world needs to stay whole.
Yeah, you can't eliminate too many parts of the world, or then what do you have?
Yeah, especially because like if it's just one of the many things, like I mean, I suffer from character ADD, so like I'm constantly making new people, but I always imagine that like they design these things with the idea that you'll play like one character and do all the things or most of the things or whatever. Yeah. So like the world does sort of need to stay whole in some fashion. So I get why they do what they do, and it's just a sort of a function of the game. But like I have really vivid memories of multiple games where like you do something and like you see this feedback, you see this like this real world consequence feedback. Like I mean, Borderlands is a good example. It doesn't seem like much of a big deal, but I went on some arduous like quest line or whatever to get a bunch of like windmills up and running again, so people would have electricity. And so I do all that, and the next time I go back there, like they're actually turning, and when it's dark, there are lights. Like, and it was just whatever I'd been playing for a while, I guess didn't have that kind of feedback in the game. But I was like this is amazing. like I did that. Look at it, I did that. Like I felt like I literally made people's lives better. By murdering a whole bunch of other people with 19 different types of guns, which you constantly switch out because you're always getting a better one. But you know what I mean? Like it was just, but that sense of like real impact on the world was really interesting to me.
Yeah, so that's definitely what's missing for sure. Yeah, and it's missing, but maybe it's missing for a reason, because if you went the right run and then half the people were dead, it's kind of a whole different town, It kind of changes everything. If you lose all your...
Well, they threw that idea out the door with Dawnguard.
Yeah.
For sure. Good luck shopping now, Buster.
Yeah, that's true. That did add a wrinkle. When Dawnguard came along, it made a big difference, because I remember the first time Adrienne got killed, and I'm like, wait, where is she? Why can't I wait? I'm like, I'll just wait an hour. I'm like, wait, it's like 3 p.m. Where is she? Where'd she go?
She's out in the street, buddy.
And I'm like,
But now her I get. I mean, does she not seem like she would yank out a sword?
Oh, yeah. And she's working right at the gate, yeah.
I mean, she would just stand up with whatever, like, hot molten steel weapon in her hand
and go.
Like,
yeah.
and I would believe her.
Yeah.
I would believe her when she was doing it. But I mean, like, really, like, the beggar.
Yeah, he just comes running down.
He comes charging in. Suddenly he's a hero.
Yeah, for no reason. Yeah.
Well, maybe he's an old vet who's down on his luck. You never know. But like, like, why is Bellathor there?
Yeah, what's he bringing to the game? He seems like someone who would never be there.
No, he's an after battle guy.
Yeah, wow, this is great. Glad we stopped him.
I'll help prepare the dead. How horrible for our town. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, there's certain people that you would think would be smarter, but yeah, that definitely sort of wrinkles. So there are some consequences.
Yeah, there are some minor consequences for sure, which could be major consequences if you're trying to sell something.
I hate it when quest givers get killed.
Oh God!
Like if it's some side quester, like a main quest giver is not going to get killed.
No.
But like if the what's his name, the red guard guy that'll give you like one-handed training, he wants you to find his dad's sword.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You better hope you don't warp into a vampire attack because he's brave. He'll get in there, but he might not survive, right? Because I don't think he's I think anybody with a minor quest, I'm not sure they're all essential. Some of them yes, some of them no.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
lots of fun. I've seen him get killed once or twice, but yeah. Sorry, it's getting a bit late. I actually there was something else I wanted to say off the back of that, but I forgot. But yeah, anyways, the idea of consequences in the world for sure. But like I say, I get why it's not that way. So it's maybe an unfair stone to throw.
Yeah, for sure. I agree too. It would be nice to see more consequences, but I can definitely see why there isn't more consequences. Because of how quickly it can snowball and how quickly those changes can become a big issue within the game itself with any kind of gameplay. It's one thing losing a merchant here and there. It's another when you lost 5 NPCs here and 2 merchants, and then this person, and this place is gone, and that house is gone, and that structure's gone. Well, that fort's been destroyed, and this, all of a sudden you're like, well.
So you create Fallout out of Skyrim, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
You just create the wasteland accidentally by making poor choices all the way through the game. Yeah.
All of a sudden, a quarter of the map is gone, and you're like, "Oh, how'd that happen?" So yeah, I mean, there's a snowball of unintended consequences I could see happening if you allowed it to get out of hand.
Yeah. No. Fair enough. For sure.
Wow, we actually did get to the Civil War, amazingly. Which was weirdly, there was a plan going in to this episode, which is very strange.
But no plan survives hitting the record button when we podcast. So.
Never does.
I mean, I always enjoy our conversations, but boy, they just go down their own rabbit holes.
It's like playing the game essentially.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's how it was intended to be, I guess we'll say. We'll pretend that's how it was intended to be from the very, very beginning days.
Oh, but we stuck to the spirit, though. We talked some game theory. We talked some mod. We shared some stories about what we've done with our particular characters. That's an ASA episode right there.
Sure.
The last thing. I remember what I was going to say. Real quick. So to tie it off from where we started, or almost where we started, to where we ended, wouldn't you love the ability to multiplayer a Civil War type quest with your buddies?
That would be amazing.
Your friends storm a castle with you. I mean, again, probably in ESO. Possible,
yeah.
Like if there was some way to like in any MMO, you can all get the same sort of quest, right? So if there was some way to multiplayer ES6, and like you were talking about, well, you never get any companions from the faction you're with, right? Well, you and 3 or 4 of your friends can become a squad and go off and do the missions that way, and have it scale to the difficulty. It's got to be smart enough. Programming smart enough now that like if there's 2 in your party, if there's 3 in your party, if there's 4 in your party, you just face more people, right? So that would be fun. The ability to like do a really like worldwide quest with real noticeable visible consequences that functionally changes the world with your friends.
Yeah. Yep.
Again, there is no reset. It's not like you load back in a week later and that guy needs 10 bears again. Like it's really done. It's done.
That's
for as
it.
long as that land world or that session exists or whatever, So yeah, that'd be a lot of fun,
For sure. Yeah, that definitely would be.
Yeah, because I mean, straight up, that'd be one of the first things I do. That'd be one of the first things I would do is I would like find some people in the group that wanted to play, for example, or whatever, and like host a LAN world. And like, if you could save it, if you could save the world state, right? Like, it'd be like, okay, let's all get together and pick a side. Let's see what we can do.
See what happens. I mean? Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll take over. We're gonna take over Valenwood or High Rock or Morrowind, elsewhere. Yeah. Yeah, so that seems to be it, eh? Like, I think it's Valenwood there's a lot of chatter.
Yes.
Morrowind potentially because they only really do the island. A lot of people are saying Black Marsh for ES6 as well.
Yeah, that was one of the early guesses before the picture, right?
No. That might be interesting. I'm not sure what you do on your own there, but to tie it to Civil War, like, ostensibly, I guess it would be like Argonians versus the Empire.
Yeah,
but if you've listened to the readings of the Argonian account on Skyrim Book Club, you'll note that the Empire doesn't really have much of a presence there.
That's true. Yeah.
So like you're not, it's in name only. It's a province in name only.
Yeah, they're kind of off on their own in some ways, I believe.
I want the Thalmor to be consequential in the next one.
Yeah, they were. Yeah,
that drives me nuts that you can't really join them, or more to the point, you can't stick it to them afterwards.
Yeah, they're they're important in that they drive a segment of the story, but they're not important enough for you to be a part of or to thwart in any way significant. Any significant way. Yeah, it's they're there, but they're. I don't know. I feel like they should be more important than they are.
Do you peel back some kind of machination on their part as you finish off Civil War? Because that's always been my theory, right? Like it's the long game. Like they're supporting Ulfric. The White Gold Concordant is specifically created to antagonize Nords. You're ostensibly at peace with the Empire, but they just barely beat you. And you've wormed your way into effectively being like the ruling council, and so on and so forth, right? Like, I mean, do they like come out of the woodwork at the end of the Civil War in some way, or like?
No, not really.
Yeah. See, but I think they're actually like, they're probably like the most interesting enemy group in the game.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
The most interesting faction because they're smart, they're powerful, they have continent-wide reach, like in Tamriel and stuff like that. I mean. So I think there's like, if you like any kind of intrigue and stuff, right? Like there's so much you could do with the Thalmor.
For sure. Yeah. Because the way the game they're playing behind the scenes is way deeper than what anybody else is doing.
Oh, for sure. Right. Yeah. And like, but I mean, imagine being able to like go down that rabbit hole.
Oh God. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's Dark Brotherhood and Thieves Guild and Civil War and all that, all like wrapped up.
All wrapped together. Like,
yeah. And it's like Ulfric is playing checkers. Okay. They're playing chess, right? Like, I mean, so I think that, if we're just moving the ball forward in the timeline in ES6, if it could be somewhere where they could be significant, even maybe as a third party again. But they were a real deep faction, again, with consequences and stuff like that. I think that'd be really interesting. That would definitely be on my, like, I want list.
For sure. Yeah, because I feel like they have so much more to offer story-wise that I would like to see them further explored in the next one if it's feasible lore-wise, Which
again, that's the big question too: is where is this in time? I mean, if it happens after Skyrim, so number one, how do you deal with the fact that the Dragonborn has returned to Skyrim? What are the consequences and ripples of that?
Yeah, if this is after that, then which we assume it would be, what are the consequences of that? How did the Civil War actually play out, as opposed to in your gameplay? How is that all hammered out, and what effects?
Yeah, they'd have to pick one, eh? They'd have to pick. I mean, arguably, you could just sort of, you fast forward a little bit, but like, again, shame of shames. Like, I've never finished the main quest. I find it the least interesting part of the game. But like, what happens? I mean, I assume like you kill Alduin the World Eater, at some
Yes.
point, or you pull him back out? Like, is he done, or you just throw him back into time? Like,
Supposedly done.
okay, so and then like, so you are this, and where does that leave you as the player? Like, are you Talos Reborn, or like, what's the perception of the game, people in the game of you at the end,
Doesn't
regardless of what
really,
you think your character is?
it doesn't change enough, the perception. Like,
Because
you'll
like,
get,
you're High King material at that point.
yeah, you get comments, but that's about it. You don't get much more than comments, There's no, like, tangible benefit, we'll say.
So that's another thing. If you're pushing forward in time,
Yeah.
what are the consequences of the Dragonborn? Because I mean, ostensibly, like, I could totally swallow, like, the Dragon Reborn has worked themselves into a position of power, even if that's the end of it. Just like the Dragonborn runs Skyrim now, or like, what if you're the Emperor? The Emperor gets killed, arguably in the Dark Brotherhood.
That's true.
Right? In fact, that's canon, right? He's dead.
Who fills that void?
Well, you do, sir.
Yeah.
Or ma'am, depending.
Yeah, that makes sense. Lore, like, that would flow nicely lore wise. Like, you do all these things as the Dragonborn. You stop the dragons. You stop the first Dragonborn, and then, maybe that ego takes over a bit. Maybe that selflessness is no longer there. And
well, I mean, just think about it, right? Like, I mean, if you've gone down the main quest first, and then you start the Civil War. Okay, come on, like, you are Izmir, right?
Yeah.
You are the Dragon Reborn, and you roll through, like, I mean, okay, you're an auxiliary, like, go over there and steal some paperwork. Okay, sure, yeah. But I mean, by the end of it, like, again, for consequences, like, you should have risen through the ranks. The idea of who and what you are, right? I mean, you're in a serious position. Like, I would want to get to the end and then as the Dragonborn and fight Ulfric.
Yeah, take him out.
You think you can shout? You think you could shout, buddy? All right, now you're a horrible xenophobe who's going to do no good for Skyrim. And that's put paid to him, right? And all of a sudden, like, and the Emperor's dead. You say, I have the blood of septums in my veins.
That's it. Yeah,
and so on and so forth, right? So it's an easy, like, if you fast forward 10 years or 20 years or whatever in the timeline, like, that's an easy place to have the Dragonborn end up. And then right back to where you suggested in the Facebook group, how would the Civil War work in? What if Skyrim under the Dragonborn is trying to expand again? And you're in a province that's rallying against that. How do you fight someone who can command dragons?
And who
has created this, like, almost religious, like, zealotry behind him in the Empire now, because a true septum is returned, and so on and so forth. I can do this all night, by the way. I'm sorry, but like, you see what I mean. So there's some really interesting potential to, like, tie the games and create that sort of that world level consequence of a civil war, right?
Yeah, for sure. That definitely, because that adds animosity. It adds jealousy, imperialism, everything, all those.
Well, he's coming, and they're coming to get revenge on the Aldmeri Dominion, and that brings back in the Thalmor. You put it somewhere where the Aldmeri Dominion matters. Skyrim is reborn as the center of the Empire, so to speak, right? So on and so forth. And they come rolling, and all of a sudden, like, wait a minute, like, I just spent the last game fighting you people, and now the Thalmor are the good guys, or do you side with the incoming, Empire, right? So yeah, anyways, all kinds of stuff. All kinds of crazy stuff we could do.
Yeah, there's so much that can be spun off from it, and even going forward into the next one, the consequences of it and all that. Like, how much do they tie in? And
I don't know why this is taking them so long. Look, we've been talking for an hour. We've built Elder Scrolls 6.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, it's already done.
Man, there you go. Job done.
Slap it together. Let's go.
Get some pictures that go with that story. And the ability to, like, shoot fire at those pictures. Off you go.
It should be done by now. Jeez.
That's right. Well, I mean, clearly they don't listen to ASA.
Yeah.
So, well, I shouldn't say that.
I don't know.
Have you ever been tagged by anybody at Bethesda?
No.
Or, like, even just in the, has anybody sort of inside the small sort of, like, Elder Scrolls Off the Record, have they been sort of noted at some point, or, like, has Character Crusade ever gotten any heat, And
yeah, that's a good question. I don't know.
I wonder what, if anything, sort of that's come up from social media, or just what we're doing, in general podcasting. Like, I wonder if any of that's bubbled up.
Yeah, that's a good question. Hey, Bethesda people, if you're listening, shoot me an anonymous email. I will not mention your name. Just say, yeah, some of us here have heard it.
And can I get a retweet? No, I'm kidding.
I would need to get on Twitter more on that account.
No, but that's just neither here nor there. But
yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, but that would be interesting to hear. If anybody, just send an anonymous email and say, yeah, we've heard it. And then I will never mention a word. I'm like a vault. If you tell me something, I won't tell anything. So,
I, on the other hand, am skirting the limits of copyright infringement with what I do, so I don't really try to attract any attention. You know, like, I'll take my 1,300 or 1,400 subscribers happily and quietly go home.
And, quietly.
My mortgage still intact. You know, my house still intact. I'm allowed to keep doing it.
Well, we're not. Nobody's making any money here, so there's that. So.
Oh, that's the sin, right?
Yeah,
so
I think that's it.
You can reuse my content as much as you want, as long as you don't make any money.
I mean, essentially, we're doing free advertising for them. So
yeah, 100%. For sure.
We'll look at it that way.
Yeah. Well, speaking of making money, thank you to all the patrons.
Oh yes, which pay for the feeds and not profit. Bethesda, if you're listening. Which is actually true. Yeah, so we actually we got pretty deep into everything. God, we're almost 2 hours again. How do we do that every single time?
You let me keep talking. It's your fault. You let me keep talking.
Well, I guess we should wrap it up because it is 9:30 and I do have to go to bed. So, where can everybody, of course, find all of your stuff?
Oh, yeah. Okay, sure. Well, I'll take that chance on that again. Thank you very much. So, skyrimbookclub.ca. Of course, that is a hub. You can find all the Skyrim Book Club episodes, almost 700. It's basically complete. I got a play coming in from somebody who did a radio play version of it. You can also find Skyrim Book Club Arcanium Edition there. Both of those podcasts, iTunes, Google Play, and then from there, whatever aggregator you're using. Arcanium Edition is the one. I'm sticking to my 2 or 3 a week. Interestingly enough, I've had some really good contributors lately. So I'm just going to be editing the podcast for the next month.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
I'll probably do a batch record at some point. So you will have to suffer my voice again at some point. Also, youtube.com/Skyrim Book Club. I got about 100 books up there now. Recently did a live stream, sort of quasi let's play. I think coming in the near future, I'm gonna do there. I had a lot of fun doing that. I would do it on Sundays for a couple hours or whatever. And I'm gonna start doing Fetch Me That Book. I've been working on some character concepts for who would be a good book fetcher.
Oh, awesome.
I can't think of a better sort of live streamy, dungeon crawly, but suitable to the Skyrim Book Club theme than doing that Radiant Quest. So we do that. And then, of course, you can find me here on ASAPodcasting whenever Michael is silly enough to provide me with a link and let me talk at him for about 2 hours. But he nods and says, oh, yeah, No, I'm teasing. But so, yeah, thanks for letting me do the plugs. That's everything I can think of. Of course, at Skyrim Book Club on Twitter.
Yes.
Talk to me. We'll say hello. We'll talk back. And there you go. That's about all, I think.
Skyrim Addict's also on Twitter. I need to get on there more. I've become very bad at it. Actually, somebody, and I forget who it was, had mentioned they were playing the Skyrim VR on the Rift, and it was pretty smooth. And actually, they were in Philly, and they said I could try it out.
I want to play Skyrim VR on Alexa. I want to see how that works out.
Oh my God, I want to do that too. I forgot. I have Alexa, and I meant to try that, and I have not tried it yet.
No, but then I want to put it on a VR screen and just see what she say. See what happens. Yeah. Go over there, do this, and just say, yeah.
That would be amazing. Yeah. I've been meaning to do the whatever it is, extra special, super special edition, whatever, but I have not done that yet. So that would be fun to do. So.
I think it's Skyrim Very Special Edition.
Very special. That's it.
Which kind of makes me think that at some point Alexa's going to stop and talk to you about how to react to people touching you in ways that make you feel uncomfortable.
Don't
For
go
those
to
of us who remember 80s TV
yeah,
shows.
exactly. Yeah. Don't
Very
go
special episode of Skyrim. Yeah.
don't go to the bike shop. Don't if you've ever watched Different Strokes, you will know what that is. That was their very special episodes.
Bellathor telling you he'd sell you one of his relatives takes on a whole new creepy meaning.
Very different meaning on the very special edition. Yeah,
that's right. That's right. I'm sorry. This stuff should really be post show. I apologize. I'll let you finish that.
All right, everyone. Thanks for listening to the 150th episode of Skyrim Addict Podcast. Which actually, there's been more with the roundtables and all that stuff, but we'll call it 150. So, happy anniversary, everyone.